Come to debate on clauses 1 to 3.
Mr Chair.
Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Chair. I want to focus my contribution at this point in the debate on Clause 1, the title of the bill, which is, as we've mentioned before in the debate, the accident compensation, in brackets, financial responsibility and transparency, close brackets, Amendment Bill 2015. Now, I think a number of times already we've alluded to the fact that the Labor Party absolutely agrees with the title of the bill, that we wanted a bill that did exactly that. But unfortunately, during the course of this debate and some of the votes that have been taken, particularly in Part 1, shows that the government isn't really prepared to be transparent, and we would say that the level of financial responsibility, the opportunity to get true financial responsibility into this bill was lost when that government voted against the amendment that would have delivered exactly that. Because, Mr Chair, how can the government argue that it's financially responsible to allow a situation where ACC levies can be collected for purposes other than accidents and injuries? Because if they believed that to be the case, they would have voted for my amendment. My amendment simply did that. It made sure that in the ACC levy setting process, that only matters to do with accident compensation could be regarded and considered in that. And yet, the government failed to support that initiative. That tells me that the financial responsibility and transparency that's set out in the title of this bill is not truly there when it comes to this bill as it's passed through its committee stages. Mr Chair, I want to ask the members opposite to tell us how they believe it was financially responsible for that government to use the current provision for the public interest to be taken into regard when setting ACC levies, how it was financially responsible to use that provision of the Act to allow more than $350 million to be collected in ACC levies that was not needed. It was demonstrably not needed in 2013 when the then ACC Minister Judith Collins ignored the recommendation of ACC and set levies at a higher level, and in her words, because the government wanted to get to surplus. That was transparency, Mr Chair. Judith Collins proclaiming loud and clear, and probably proclaiming quite proudly, that she was using, as the former ACC Minister, she was using the ACC levy setting process for purposes other than accidents and injuries, other than treating accidents and injuries, other than preventing them, because those are the right purposes.
Order. I'm going to do again what I've done previously. This is a very narrow bill. It's prospective, not retrospective. The history has been well covered in the first and second readings, and as a result of that, this is very narrow now, and the minister, the member, in getting historical, is outside the requirements. Sue Moroney.
Thank you, Mr Chair, for that direction. The point that I will come back to is that the members, the government and the minister has missed an opportunity to truly make good on the title of this bill, the Accident Compensation, Financial Responsibility and Transparency Amendment Bill, because if they really wanted to stay true to the title of the bill, then they will have supported that amendment, because after all, what it did was seek to clarify that ACC levies, when they were being set through all of the new provisions that this bill brings in, so that is the minister setting out a funding policy direction before ACC even gets to think about this. That is that the process that ACC needs to go through and its consultation process with regard to setting levies, and that is the way in which the government gets to determine what the levies are at the end of that process. That would have been financially responsible to make sure that it could be only used for the intended purpose. And I think the members opposite, actually, the ones on the Select Committee, expressed to us that that's what they believed the use of the public interest process was for. That it was for making sure that if there was, there was a disaster, and we've had them, the earthquake, Pike River Mine, that there would be the ability for that to be covered.
Phil Twyford.